What if I told you that your happiness, your peace of mind, and even your self-respect could be hanging by a thread, and you might not even realize it? Relationships are beautiful, but let's face it, they can also be the battleground for your self-esteem, your values, and your sense of worth. Have you ever felt like something your partner says to you just doesn't sit right? Maybe you brush it off, thinking, "Oh, he didn't mean it." Or worse, you start believing those little hurtful words might be true. There, where many of us make the first mistake. We ignore the warning signs. We tell ourselves things will get better. But let me ask you this, when someone truly loves and values you, do they make you feel small, question your worth, or put your happiness on the back burner? No, they don't. And today we're diving into 10 things he might say that should make you walk away immediately, for your benefit and your future. Being reactive or overly sensitive, it's about recognizing red flags and choosing yourself, your dignity, and your peace of mind. Why? Because you deserve a partner who uplifts you, cherishes you, and walks alongside you as an equal, not someone who uses words to undermine your confidence. And here's the thing, we're not just talking about toxic words, we're talking about how they reflect the mindset of the person saying them and the imbalance they can create in your relationship. If you've been feeling confused or unsure about where you stand, this video might just be the wake-up call you need. Are you ready to learn how to protect your happiness? Identify these toxic statements and align your life with the powerful teachings of Dark Stoic Psychology and the principles of Stoicism. Let's get into it. Unfreezen. 1. You need to change. Imagine this. You're sitting across from him, maybe in the middle of a small argument or even a casual conversation, and then he drops it. The sentence that stings, whether he says it bluntly or gently. You need to change. What goes through your mind in that moment? Maybe it's confusion. Maybe you start questioning yourself. Is there something wrong with me? Am I not good enough the way I am? This seemingly simple statement has a way of worming its way into your self-perception, planting seeds of doubt and inadequacy. But here's the truth you need to hear. When someone tells you that you need to change, they are revealing far more about themselves than they are about they. Let's pause and think about this for a second. In a healthy relationship, what is the foundation? Acceptance, respect, love. When you truly care about someone, you embrace their quirks, their flaws, and their individuality. Sure, everyone has areas where they can grow, but there's a profound difference between growth and fundamental change. Growth is collaborative. It's about mutual support and shared goals, but when he says you need to change, what he's really saying is, you're not enough as you are. This is where the teachings of Stoicism come into play. Epictetus, a renowned Stoic philosopher, wisely said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Translation, your value lies in your authenticity, in being true to who you are, not in someone else's vision of who you should be. Let's dig deeper. Why would a man say this? Often it's because he's projecting his own insecurities onto you. He may feel the need to control, to mold, to shape you into a version of yourself that fits his ideal, whether that ideal is based on societal expectations, comparisons to others, or his own insecurities. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you willing to sacrifice your authenticity, your self-worth, and your self-worth to meet his impossible standard? Take a moment and think about how it feels to be truly accepted. How much peace would it bring you to know that your partner sees you, the real you, and loves you just as you are? Isn't that what you deserve? If he insists that you need to change, he's not loving you. He's loving an idea of you that exists only in his mind. And that's not love, it's control. I'm still not convinced. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine a partner who constantly critiques how you dress, how you speak, or even your goals. You'd look better if you wore this, or why can't you be more outgoing? At first, it might seem like harmless advice, but over time, it chips away at your confidence. You start second-guessing yourself. You start wondering if you're the problem. This is how toxic dynamics take root, slowly, subtly, but surely. Dark Stoic Psychology teaches us to recognize these patterns and take back our power. It reminds us that our happiness isn't dependent on the approval of others. It's about aligning with our inner values and staying true to ourselves, no matter how others try to shape us. So what's the solution? You walk away, not out of anger or bitterness, but out of self-respect. When you leave a relationship where you are not fully accepted, you open the door to a future where you can be loved unconditionally. It's not easy, but it's necessary. And remember this, leaving isn't a sign of failure. It's an act of courage and self-preservation. Let me leave you with this question. Would you rather spend your life trying to fit into someone else's mold, or would you rather find someone who celebrates the person you already are? The choice is yours, but I hope you choose you. 2. I don't trust you. Picture this. You've been nothing but honest, transparent, and loyal, but he still says those 4 crushing words. I don't trust you. Maybe it's during an argument, or perhaps it's a subtle comment disguised as a joke. Either way, the effect is the same. It leaves you feeling like you're walking on eggshells, constantly trying to prove your integrity. But here's the real question. Why are you working so hard to convince someone who's already made up their mind to doubt you? Let's get one thing straight. Trust is the bedrock of any meaningful relationship. Without it, everything crumbles. When someone tells you they don't trust you, they're revealing a lack of faith not just in you, but in the relationship as a whole. And here's the kicker. This often has more to do with them than with you. Now think about it. What drives a person to mistrust someone who hasn't given them a reason to? In many cases, it's insecurity, past trauma, or even guilt from their own actions. But is it fair for you to carry the weight of someone else's unresolved issues? Is it your job to continuously prove yourself worthy of trust when you've done nothing to betray it? Let's take a moment to reflect on this through the lens of Stoicism. One of the great teachings of Stoicism is to focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot. You cannot control someone else's thoughts, insecurities, or fears. What you can control is how you respond. If someone's mistrust is making you feel small, unworthy, or constantly under surveillance, it's time to reclaim your peace of mind. Here's a scenario for you. He checks your phone, questions your whereabouts, or accuses you of things you haven't done. At first, you might think, he just cares about me. But over time, this behavior starts to feel suffocating. You begin to lose your sense of independence, freedom, and self-worth. This is not love, it's control masquerading as concern. And let's be honest, trust isn't something you can force. It's either there or it's not. When someone tells you they don't trust you, they're placing a permanent question mark over everything you do, no matter how innocent your actions may be. Do you really want to live under constant scrutiny where every word, every action, every decision is second-guessed? Here's where Dark Stoic Psychology offers a lifeline. It teaches us to detach from the toxic opinions of others and focus on maintaining our inner calm and dignity. Instead of bending over backward to gain his trust, ask yourself, is this the kind of relationship I want to invest in? Is this the kind of partnership that allows me to thrive? Let me challenge you with the thought. In a world full of people who could trust you, why stay with someone who chooses not to? Why allow someone's doubts to poison your peace and self-confidence? If trust is lacking now, what hope is there for a future where mutual faith and respect are essential? Think about this. When you're with a partner who truly trusts you, how does it feel? Doesn't it bring a sense of freedom, joy, and connection? Doesn't it allow you to be your authentic self without fear of judgment or interrogation? That's the relationship you deserve, the one where trust isn't questioned but celebrated. If he can't trust you, it's time to walk away, not because you're giving up, but because you're choosing to value yourself. Remember, trust is not a gift you beg for. It's a natural result of mutual respect and understanding. And if it's not there, you owe it to yourself to leave and make room for a love that's built on a solid foundation. Now let's talk. Have you ever been in a relationship where trust was missing? Did you feel the constant pressure to prove yourself, or did you make the brave decision to walk away? I'd love to hear your story. Leave a comment below and let me know how you handled it or how you're handling it now. And if this message resonated with you, Take a moment to like this video. Every like helps this community grow and empowers others to recognize their worth. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights into relationships, stoicism, and how to protect your happiness. Your journey toward a better, healthier relationship starts with understanding these red flags. So stick around, because the next one might be the wake-up call you've been waiting for. 3. My friends are more important. You're standing there, excited to share something meaningful. Maybe it's a new project you're working on, a dream you want to pursue, or just the joy of spending time together. But then he says it casually or perhaps defensively. My friends are more important. The weight of those words hits you like a ton of bricks. In a healthy relationship, there's always room for outside connections. Friendships are vital for both partners. They provide perspective, fun, and emotional support. But when he consistently prioritizes his friends over you, what does that really say about where you stand in his life? Your relationships are built on mutual prioritization, where both partners create a safe, supportive bond while still maintaining individual lives. If he's choosing his friends every time over nurturing the connection with you, there's an imbalance that cannot be ignored. Here's the truth. A man who values you will find ways to include you in his life without sacrificing the friendships that matter to him. But if he's treating you like a convenience, expecting you to play second fiddle to his social circle, it's a sign that he's not ready or willing to invest in a meaningful partnership. This behavior isn't just about his friends, it's about his values. Does he truly see you as his confidant, his partner, his priority? Or are you an afterthought waiting for him to finish spending his time elsewhere? Let's bring in the wisdom of Stoicism here. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to focus on what aligns with our principles and to recognize when something or someone does not. If his behavior consistently shows that you're not at the top of his list, you need to ask yourself whether this relationship reflects the respect and love you deserve. Now imagine this scenario. You plan a romantic evening together, but he cancels last minute because the guys are hanging out. It's not the first time, and you're starting to notice a pattern. Each time you push down your feelings, convincing yourself that you're being understanding. But deep down, resentment begins to brew. Over time, this dynamic chips away at the bond you're trying to build, leaving you questioning whether your needs even matter. And let's not forget the subtle but damaging ripple effect this has on your self-esteem. When someone consistently chooses others over you, it's easy to internalize that rejection. But here's the truth. It's not about you, it's about his inability to prioritize what truly matters. You deserve someone who makes you feel valued and seen, not like a backup plan. If you're facing this situation, remember, you have the power to choose how you're treated. Relationships thrive on mutual effort, where both partners find joy in prioritizing each other's happiness. If he's not meeting you halfway, it's time to reassess whether this dynamic is serving you or draining you. 4. I'm not ready for a relationship. Let's paint the picture. You've been dating for a while and things seem to be going well. But then he drops the bombshell. I'm not ready for a relationship. Maybe he's using it as an excuse after months of vague commitment, or perhaps he says it early on to set the stage. Either way, the underlying message is the same. He's not prepared to give you what you deserve. At first, it might sound reasonable. Life can be complicated. Career pressures, emotional baggage, or past heartbreaks might genuinely make someone hesitant to commit. But let's get real. If someone truly values you, they'll take the necessary steps to create space for you in their life, no matter how messy it feels. I'm not ready isn't just a statement about his readiness, it's a statement about his priorities. Consider this. Are you willing to wait indefinitely for someone to get ready? And what does that timeline even look like? Weeks? Months? Years? When someone says they're not ready for a relationship, it's often a polite way of saying they're not ready for this relationship. If he truly saw a future with you, wouldn't he be working toward it rather than holding you at arm's length? Here's where Dark Stoic Psychology can offer some clarity. It encourages you to detach from wishful thinking and see the situation as it is, not as you want it to be. And when someone reveals their intentions, believe them. Holding on to the hope that he'll change his mind can trap you in a cycle of disappointment and self-doubt. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, once said, "It is not that life is short, but that we waste much of it." Waiting for someone to commit when they've clearly stated they won't is one of the most profound ways to waste your time. Now think about it. How does it feel to constantly wonder where you stand? To invest your energy in someone who's not investing it back? It's emotionally exhausting. And what happens when you finally realize that not ready was just a way to keep you around without ever truly committing? The pain of that realization can be devastating. Let's reframe this situation. Imagine instead being with someone who's as excited about the relationship as you are, someone who actively wants to build a future together. How different would that feel? How much lighter, freer, and more fulfilling would your life be without the weight of uncertainty? When he says, "I'm not ready for a relationship," he's giving you a gift, a chance to walk away and find someone who is. It might not feel like a gift in the moment, but in the long run, it's the freedom to choose yourself and your happiness over waiting for someone else to figure out theirs. So the next time you hear these words, take them seriously. You deserve a partner who's ready to stand beside you, not someone who keeps you waiting in the wings. And remember, leaving doesn't mean you're giving up, it means you're stepping up for yourself. 5. You don't make enough money. It starts subtly. Perhaps it's a comment disguised as a joke. "Wow, it must be nice to have a job that doesn't stress you out too much." Or maybe it's more direct. "I just don't know if I can be with someone who doesn't match my ambitions financially." Whatever the delivery, the message is clear. He's tying your worth to your paycheck. And let me be very clear, this is a glaring red flag. Let's pause and unpack this. What does it feel like to be judged solely by the number on your paycheck? It's dehumanizing, isn't it? You've worked hard for where you are. Your worth isn't defined by the size of your bank account, but by your character, your kindness, your values, and the way you contribute to the world. Yet when someone says you don't make enough money, they're reducing you to a dollar sign, completely disregarding the essence of who you are. Here's the thing, money is important, but it's not everything. A healthy relationship isn't built on material wealth. It's built on mutual respect, shared values, and emotional support. When a man makes comments like this, it reveals far more about him than it does about you. It shows his priorities are skewed towards superficial metrics of success rather than the deeper connection that makes a relationship thrive. Let me ask you this. Do you want to be with someone who values possessions over people? Because that's what's happening here. When he dismisses you based on your income, he's essentially telling you that he doesn't see the real you, the person who has dreams, ambitions, and a heart full of love to give. Now, let's bring in some Stoicism to ground this conversation. The Stoic philosopher Seneca famously said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." So wisdom applies perfectly to relationships. A partner who's fixated on financial status, who craves wealth at the expense of deeper values, is living in a kind of poverty, one of the soul. And if you stay, his dissatisfaction will eventually chip away at your confidence, leaving you questioning your worth. Picture this scenario. You're planning a future together, talking about dreams and goals. Instead of focusing on the life you can build as a team, he's constantly worrying about what you're bringing to the table financially. Does that sound like a partnership? Or does it feel more like a transactional relationship where you're being evaluated as if you were a job applicant rather than a life partner? This is where Dark Stoic Psychology can be transformative. It teaches us to recognize when external measures like money are being used to manipulate or control us. It reminds us to focus on our intrinsic worth and not let others diminish us with shallow criticisms. If he can't see your value beyond your paycheck, that's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of his limited perspective. And here's something else to consider. Financial success is fleeting, jobs change, markets crash, What remains constant is the essence of who you are, your resilience, your kindness, your ability to love and support your partner. Wouldn't you want someone who sees and values those qualities above all else? So if he's making you feel small because of your income, it's time to ask yourself some hard questions. Is this the kind of person you want to build a life with? Can you see yourself thriving with someone who prioritizes material wealth over mutual respect? And if the answer is no, then the path forward is clear. Walking away is not a failure, it's an act of self-respect. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where money became the focus instead of the relationship itself? How did it make you feel, and what steps did you take to address it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure your story can help others navigating similar challenges. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video. Your support helps us reach more people who might need to hear these insights. Subscribe for more lessons on relationships, stoicism, and reclaiming your self-worth. Together we can build a community that values love and respect over shallow judgments. 6. I'm too good for you. The words hang in the air like a dagger. I'm too good for you. Maybe he says it jokingly, laced with a hint of superiority, or perhaps it's delivered with cutting clarity during an argument. However it's framed, the meaning is clear. He sees himself as better than you, and that, my friend, is a toxic narrative you must reject. At first, you might brush it off, thinking he's just joking, or maybe he didn't mean it that way. But deep down, you know better. When someone places themselves above you, they're signaling a fundamental lack of respect. Respect is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. Without it, even the strongest connections will crumble under the weight of arrogance and inequality. So let me ask you this. How long are you willing to tolerate someone making you feel less than? So relationships should empower both partners, creating a dynamic where mutual admiration and support thrive. But when one person adopts an air of superiority, it creates a power imbalance that can erode your confidence over time. Constantly hearing, "I'm too good for you," might lead you to believe it, even if it's far from the truth. Here's a harsh reality. When someone says they're too good for you, it's often a defense mechanism, a way to mask their own insecurities by putting you down. They project their need for control onto you, elevating themselves to feel significant. But no matter the reason behind the words, the impact is the same. It's a toxic dynamic that no amount of love or compromise can fix. Let's draw from Stoicism to understand why this behavior is so damaging. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to protect our inner peace by detaching from external judgments. If someone's words diminish your worth, it's not your role to internalize their negativity. Instead, recognize that their behavior reflects their flaws, not yours. Now imagine the opposite scenario. A partner who lifts you up, who celebrates your achievements and admires your qualities. How much better does that feel? Relationships aren't about one person being better than the other. They're about two equals coming together to create something beautiful. If he's constantly making you feel like you're playing catch up, he's missing the point entirely. Here's a reality check. You're not less than anyone. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's opinion or their inflated sense of self. You deserve a partner who values you for who you are, without feeling the need to assert dominance or superiority. Don't let his insecurities shape your self-perception. And when faced with this kind of treatment, the solution is simple: walk away. Not in anger or retaliation, but in quiet confidence, knowing that you deserve better. The sooner you step out of a relationship where respect is missing, the sooner you can make space for someone who sees your worth and treats you accordingly. 7. I'm not over my ex. It starts with a casual mention. Maybe he brings up an old memory involving his ex, or you notice her name slipping into conversations more often than you'd like. Then one day he says it outright. I'm not over my ex. The words hit like a punch to the gut, unraveling the foundation of your relationship in an instant. What do you do with that information? Do you hold on tighter, hoping you can help him move on? Do you excuse his lingering attachment as something he can work through while you patiently wait? Or do you see it for what it is? A roadblock to the love and partnership you deserve? Let's get real. Being with someone who isn't emotionally available is like trying to build a house on quicksand. His unresolved feelings for his ex aren't just a personal issue, they're a barrier preventing your relationship from growing. And while it's tempting to believe you can help him move forward, the truth is, only he can do that. It's not your job to heal him or compete with the ghost of his past. The teachings of Stoicism offer powerful insight here. Seneca wisely said, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." If he's still stuck in his past, he's not living in the present, and that means he's not fully present with you. In a relationship, you deserve someone who's committed to the here and now, not someone whose heart is split between you and a memory. Think about how exhausting it is to compete with an ex who isn't even in the picture anymore. Every time he compares you to her, whether directly or indirectly, it chips away at your sense of security. It's not just about jealousy, it's about the emotional distance it creates. How can you build a future with someone who's still holding on to the past? And let's not overlook the ripple effect this dynamic has on your self-worth. When you're with someone who's emotionally unavailable, it's easy to feel like you're the problem, like you're not enough to make him move on. But here's the truth, it's not about you. His inability to let go of his ex is his burden, not yours. Imagine instead being with someone whose heart is fully open to you, who's ready to invest in a shared future without the baggage of unresolved feelings. That's what you deserve, an equal partnership where both people are committed to moving forward together. So what's the path forward? It's simple, but not easy. Let him go. Encourage him to take the time he needs to heal and process his past, but don't sacrifice your own emotional well-being in the process. You deserve a partner who's ready to meet you where you are, not one who's stuck looking backward. And when you choose yourself, you open the door to a love that's free of hesitation, comparison, and doubt. 8. You should be more like my friend's girlfriend. It might seem like a small comment at first. Did you see how she surprised her boyfriend for his birthday? That's so sweet. You should try something like that. Or maybe it's more cutting. Why can't you dress up like her when we go out? The comparison feels harmless at first, but over time it starts to gnaw at you, chipping away at your confidence and your sense of self. Let me ask you this. How does it feel to be compared to someone else, someone who isn't you? These kinds of statements aren't just casual observations, they're red flags that signal a deeper problem in the relationship. When he tells you you should be more like my friend's girlfriend, he's not just criticizing you, he's undermining your individuality and the unique qualities that make you who you are. And here's the real question. Why is he with you if he's constantly wishing you were someone else? Let's take a moment to examine what's really happening here. When someone compares you to others, it's often a reflection of their dissatisfaction, not with you, but with themselves. Maybe he feels insecure about your relationship, or perhaps he's holding on to an unrealistic fantasy of what a perfect partner should look like. Either way, his inability to appreciate you for who you are is not a you problem. It's a him problem. Here's where Stoicism offers a valuable perspective. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our thoughts, and our reactions, while letting go of the things we cannot. You cannot control his comparisons or his unrealistic expectations, but you can control how you respond. Will you let his words define your worth, or will you choose to stand firm in the knowledge that you are enough, just as you are? Let's talk about the toll this behavior can take on your mental and emotional well-being. Being constantly compared to others creates an atmosphere of competition rather than partnership. It plants seeds of insecurity, making you question whether you're good enough or whether you'll ever measure up. But let me tell you this, you are not in a relationship to compete with anyone. You are in a relationship to be valued for the person you already are. Now imagine a different scenario. Imagine being with someone who celebrates your individuality, who sees the things that make you unique and loves you for them. Imagine how freeing it would feel to be with a partner who doesn't compare you to anyone else, because in his eyes, no one else even comes close. That's the kind of love you deserve. If he's constantly telling you to be more like someone else, it's time to have a serious conversation, not with him, but with yourself. Ask yourself, is this relationship helping me grow and thrive, or is it making me feel small? If the answer is the latter, it might be time to walk away. Not because you're giving up, but because you're choosing to prioritize your own well-being. What do you think? Have you ever been in a relationship where comparisons made you question your worth? How did it make you feel? And how did you handle it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video. Every like helps us spread this message to others who might need to hear it. Your journey toward healthier relationships starts with recognizing red flags like this one. So stick around, we're getting closer to uncovering the complete picture of what you deserve and love. 9. I can do better than you. There's a moment of silence after he says it. A moment where you question if you heard him correctly. But no, you didn't mishear. He just told you, I can do better than you. Whether it's said in the heat of an argument, as a cruel joke, or with outright condescension, these words carry a heavy weight. They are not just an insult, they're a declaration that he doesn't value you the way he should. Hearing those words can feel like a slap in the face. They're designed to wound, to make you doubt yourself, to question whether you're truly enough. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous. When someone says, I can do better than you, they are wielding their words as a weapon, attempting to assert power over you by diminishing your worth. But let me ask you this. What kind of partner thinks it's acceptable to treat someone they supposedly care about this way? Let's break this down. A loving, supportive partner doesn't need to compare you to some imaginary better person. They see your value, your unique qualities, and your strengths. They celebrate you for who you are, flaws and all. On the other hand, someone who says they can do better is operating from a place of arrogance, insecurity, or manipulation. Perhaps they want to make you feel lucky to have them, as though they're the prize you must fight to keep. But relationships aren't about power plays, they're about mutual respect and partnership. Now let's bring in some stoicism to guide our response to such hurtful words. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When someone tells you they can do better than you, it's easy to let those words burrow into your thoughts, planting seeds of self-doubt. But Stoicism teaches us to recognize that their words are a reflection of their character, not our own. You can choose to reject their negativity and hold on to the truth of your inherent worth. Think about what these words reveal about him. Is he someone who lifts others up or someone who tears them down? A person who truly believes in building a strong relationship doesn't undermine their partner's confidence, they nurture it. When he claims he can do better, he's not just disrespecting you, he's exposing his own shallow perspective on relationships. Does he even understand what a meaningful, fulfilling partnership looks like? Based on those words, it doesn't seem so. Imagine what it would feel like to be with someone who makes you feel like the best thing that's ever happened to them. Someone who chooses you, not because they think they're settling, but because they see your unique value and know they couldn't find anyone better suited for them. That's what you deserve. And you won't find it with someone who views you as less than enough. If you stay in a relationship with someone who tells you they can do better than you, those words will linger. They'll come back in moments of doubt, during disagreements, and when you're already feeling vulnerable. Over time, they can chip away at your self-esteem, making you question your worth, not just in this relationship, but in others as well. That's the long-term damage words like this can cause. But here's the truth. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. Your value doesn't come from their approval or validation. It comes from within. And when you truly understand that, walking away from someone who disrespects you becomes not just an option but a necessity. The next time someone tells you they can do better than you, let those words be the wake-up call they're meant to be. Let them remind you that you deserve better. someone who sees your value, cherishes your presence, and treats you with the respect you deserve. You don't have to stay and endure disrespect. You can leave knowing that by doing so, you're making room for a healthier, happier, and more fulfilling future. 10. I don't need you. The words cut deeper than you expect, don't they? I don't need you. Whether said in the heat of an argument or in a moment of detachment, this phrase sends a clear and painful message. Your presence in his life is optional, replaceable, even inconsequential. And while independence is a beautiful thing, there's a fine line between healthy self-reliance and dismissing the value of a partner. Let me ask you this. How would you feel in a relationship where your worth is constantly questioned, where you're made to feel like an accessory rather than an integral part of someone's life? When someone says, I don't need you, they're revealing more than just their perspective on the relationship. They're showing you how they see you and the role you play. Relationships are about mutual support, not dependence. But there's also a fundamental truth. Love is about choosing each other, valuing each other, and showing up for one another. If he's making it clear that he doesn't need you, it begs the question, why is he with you? Here's the thing. Being needed and being valued are deeply intertwined. While no one wants to feel like a crutch or a caretaker in a relationship, everyone deserves to feel that their presence matters. When he tells you he doesn't need you, he's subtly telling you that your contributions, whether emotional, physical, or practical, don't hold weight in his eyes. Over time, this lack of recognition can erode your self-esteem, making you question whether you're truly enough. This is where Dark Stoic Psychology provides powerful insight. It teaches us to detach from relationships and dynamics that no longer serve us. By stepping back and examining his words objectively, you can see them for what they are. A reflection of his inability to appreciate the depth of connection a relationship requires. And Seneca reminds us that we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. The reality here is simple. If he doesn't value you, it's not your job to convince him otherwise. Let's consider this from another angle. Imagine being with someone who cherishes your presence in their life, not out of dependency, but out of mutual respect and gratitude. Imagine a partner who actively acknowledges the ways you enhance their world, from your shared laughs to the comfort you bring in tough times. That's what a healthy relationship looks like. And if he's telling you he doesn't need you, he's signaling that he's not capable of or willing to provide that kind of partnership. Think about the ripple effects of staying in a relationship where your value isn't recognized. Every time he dismisses you, whether through words or actions, it reinforces a narrative that you're somehow less than, unnecessary, or replaceable. That narrative can seep into other areas of your life, coloring how you see yourself at work, with friends, or even in future relationships. Is that a price you're willing to pay for staying with someone who can't see your worth? Now let's flip the script. Imagine walking away from this dynamic not out of spite, but out of self-love. Picture yourself choosing to step into a life where you surround yourself with people who value you, relationships that uplift you, and a partner who recognizes your worth every single day. It's a bold move, but it's one that leads to growth, fulfillment, and happiness. The next time he tells you, I don't need you, take a deep breath and remember, you are not here to convince anyone of your value. You are here to live authentically, to love deeply, and to be loved in return. And if he can't meet you at that level, it's time to let go, not because you don't care, but because you care enough about yourself to walk away. And there you have it, the 10 things he might say that should make you stop, reflect, and if necessary, walk away. Relationships are meant to bring joy, support, and mutual growth. They're not meant to make you feel small, unworthy, or replaceable. If you've recognized any of these red flags in your own relationship, know this: you are not alone, and you have the strength to choose better for yourself. So let me ask you, which of these resonated with you the most? Have you experienced these red flags in your life, and how did you handle them? Share your stories in the comments below. Your voice might just inspire someone else to take that first brave step toward a better future. If this message struck a chord with you, I'd be honored if you liked this video, subscribed to the channel, and shared it with someone who might need to hear these lessons. Together, we can create a community built on respect, growth, and the wisdom of Stoicism and Dark Stoic Psychology, a place where everyone is empowered to recognize their worth and demand the love they deserve. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Here's to stronger, healthier relationships and to choosing yourself every single time. Stay strong, stay wise, and until next time, take care.